Hello, hello. I know it's Wednesday. I know it's Wednesday and it's the middle of the day, but I just wanted to kind of talk about this quickly of a rule for our house. And, you know, having rules for your home, everybody has rules of things people can do and people can't do. But as an autism parent, there have, had to be some rules put in place intentionally because we are parenting a daughter on the autism spectrum. And one of the rules that we had to put in place, I'm going to talk about in a second. So, growing up, we always told our son, your sister is watching you. She's learning from you, so if you do something wrong, you're teaching her something wrong. And he, understood that and realized that. Well, we then realized that we had to kind of make an adjustment with an intentional rule for him. And it just, became something we had to do. And that was our house rule: shirts on. Now, some people may say, what's the big deal? If she's watching him and we allow him to just walk around the house with no shirt on, or she's seeing dad walk around the house with no shirt on, then what do you think happens? Kendall was already at a point where she wanted to take things off. And trying to teach that public private rule was just going to be too much at that point when he really wanted to start walking around the house with no shirt on. So our rule became shirts on. That was really, I guess you could say, my rule to make things work. And that meant dad as well. So unless he was in his room with the door closed, he had to have a shirt on. I needed Kendall to understand she had to keep her shirt on. And I didn't want to have to talk about private and public. So she, watching him, realized she had to keep her shirt on. And that was just a rule that worked for us. You've got to think about what's going to work for you in your home. But I know parenting a daughter on the spectrum, it creates a lot of different challenges along the way, especially when you're dealing with a daughter with an autism diagnosis and an intellectual disability. So our rule became shirts on. I really think once he went off to school, that probably was a highlight for him, that he could then walk around outside of a room with no shirt on. Because here at home, still to this day, if he's here, he knows our rule is shirt on unless you are in your room with the door closed. Whatever works for your family is what you need to do. And so that was our rule. And maybe you need to sit and think about some things that you need to make rules for your home as well. But that was one that we put in place, and it is still in place to this day, that dad, brother, shirts on if they are outside the room. It's what worked for us. Maybe you need to think about some things that work for you all and just make them some rules, some intentional rules for your home. Things we have to do when we're parenting on this autism journey. Because remember, our children are watching us. So if we, do things, they're learning from us. And sometimes we can teach them some things unintentionally. And I'm not to say that everything is bad, but we've then got to make sure we're being intentional about the things we do so that we're not teaching them some habits that we know the difference between public and private. However, they're not able to, at that point, distinguish between public and private rules. So think about how you are operating day to day. And if you're raising a child that's on the spectrum, how they are mimicking what you do. And we hear people all the time say when kids curse, they probably curse in the home. Well, when you have a child that's on the spectrum, everything you really have to think about, because you are teaching them. And sometimes we teach our kids some things unintentionally, and we don't want to do those things. So a rule for our home became shirts on. Have a great one.